Hello folks, this is Kurt Cambier from Centennial Capital Partners with our December 2014 Educational Economic Update. In the month's video, we'll discuss some of the economic events that occurred last month to give you some insight on what they mean and for you as an investor. Please stay tuned at the end for the required disclosure statements. December was a fickle month for markets that forced investors to weigh positive domestic fundamentals against fresh worries from abroad. Let's take a look at what happened last month. Falling oil prices caused a lot of market uncertainty as investors grappled with what low prices mean for the economy. Since the recent highs in June, oil prices have fallen nearly 50%. While cheap oil and gasoline are great for American consumers, who have much more money in their wallets around the holidays, it's bad for oil producers. Countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia depend upon oil revenues to balance their budgets. American producers need higher oil prices to make oil projects economically feasible. If prices stay too low for too long, it could destabilize many petroleum-based economies and shut down some U.S. oil projects. Holiday shopping kicked off in November, despite a kind of a rocky Black Friday. Retailers hope that the cheap gas and improving labor market will boost sales. Sales between November and December are projected to grow 4.1%, which is the biggest increase since 2011. On the other hand, many stores offered large discounts to lure shoppers, which may cut into their profit margins. The Commerce Department released another revised estimate of GDP, showing that the economy grew a whopping 5% in the third quarter. This is the fastest rate of growth seen since 2003. Even better, the biggest revision was in personal consumption, which is the most important driver of the overall economic growth. Now the question is, how much of that juice will be carried forward in future quarters? It's too soon to say for sure, but we hope that cheaper gas, better job situation, boosted the economy in the fourth quarter. Overall, 2014 was a good year for the U.S. economy as the recovery moved into its fifth year. We finally regained all the jobs lost in the recession, and America started believing in the economy again. Looking ahead, it's important to be cautious about the markets in the coming weeks. Despite periods of volatility, markets did well in 2014, and a pullback is still possible. The fundamentals are solid. We expect positive consumer sentiment and improving labor market contribute to gains in 2015. On the other hand, significant uncertainty remains about how weakening global demand, low oil prices, and interest rate hikes in the United States could affect the economy. As always, we recommend focusing on your own investment strategies while allowing us to keep an eye on market conditions. I hope you enjoy watching our economic updates this year. We look forward to a very prosperous 2015 together. And that's it for the December Educational Economic Update. If you have any questions or concerns, please give our office a call at 303-584-1161. Now my new book is finally out, and The Future is Brighter Than You Think. It's available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, and also on my website. And once again, this is Kurt Cambier with Centennial Capital Partners signing off for the month of December 2014. If you have any questions about what you've heard in this update or would like to discuss your personal financial situation, please give us a call at 303-271-1067, which is my direct line. Now for those required disclosures. While we believe this information in this report is reliable, we cannot guarantee its accuracy. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are intended for investment advice, not intended for investment advice or solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. Please consult your financial professional before making any investment decisions. Securities are offered to Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC, investment advisor representative of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge Investment Research and Centennial Capital Partners are not affiliated. Anyway, thank you. Live large, laugh often, love always. Pay it forward when you can. Have a great day.